What's up, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers. It's people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. I'm Shannon Tynes. I'll be hosting today, and I'm here with Chris Abacon. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back.
Awesome. So we're down to two again, right? So Daniel and Ryan couldn't make it this week, but we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna
That's right.
We're gonna make this show roll. You know what I mean? But all right, everybody, look. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, right? I know Ryan always has a lot of stuff to say and whatnot, but I'm trying to get to the meat here. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen. So this first article actually comes from thehackernews.com, and it's written by Mohit Kumar. And the title of this one is "Wanted Russian Hacker Linked to Hive and Lockbit Ransomware Arrested." So Mikhail Pavlovich Matveev has been arrested, right? And this is somebody it's been on America's radar for a couple of years now, right? So he's a Russian cyber criminal. It's one of the United States in connection with Lockbit and Hive ransomware operations, right? This is something we've been dealing with for years, right? So there was a news report from the Russian media outlet RIA Novosti, that Mikhail Pavlovich Matveev has been accused of developing a malicious program designed to encrypt files and seek ransom in return for a decryption key, right? So again, kind of typical for the ransomware stuff that we see, right? But they finally did something about it, right? And I think the reason for this was because he had been out there and he had been talking, and he was saying that as long as he remained loyal to Russia, he thought he was going to be fine, right? Which kind of made it seem like this was kind of Russian backed, right? Like Russia had no problem with it going out and doing what he was doing, which is definitely not the case, right? So, well, let me not say definitely not the case. Let me say this. That may have been the case, right? But Russia is to a point right now where maybe they're like, maybe we should play it a little bit cooler now. Like, we don't know what's about to happen coming up here. But yeah, he was very comfortable. Like, he was going out on websites saying, hey, look, I'm fine as long as I'm loyal to Russia, right? So, but this guy's he's been working as an affiliate for lots of groups, right? Conti,
Right.
Hive, Trigonia, No Escape ransomware groups. So like, he's kind of been all over the place, right? So, and even though he's somebody that we've gone after, like, he's somebody that he's been wanted for a few years, right? But he's when we say REvil, we've talked about REvil a few times here, right? And he's one of the ones. 4 members of REvil got hit up a little over a month ago, I think it was. It was
right.
4 members that got caught up. So they got several years in prison in Russia, right? So they got convicted of hacking and money laundering charges. And it looks like this guy might be going down the same road, right? So whether it be that Russia is trying to put forth a face here and say, no, we had nothing to do with this or whatever, like, we don't know. But he might be looking at some serious jail time now. But Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
Really, with this one, I think he got a little bit too close to the sun, right? And it came strictly out of arrogance. Yes, at some point in time, he was seen as a key resource to conduct cyber attacks, maybe on behalf of the Russian government, right? We don't know. But this guy, he played really as almost like a managerial role in a lot of these groups. He's leading a lot of these groups, probably training a set of groups and Russian personnel that can conduct these at a high level. Clearly, this guy is very good at what he does. I mean, having worked with as an affiliate for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bunch of ransomware groups, right?
The $10 million bounty on his head.
Yeah, $10 million bounty.
Yeah.
Which that should show you like the effectiveness of sanctions. Obviously, he was sanctioned, and he's got a $10 million bounty on him. At some point in time, the Russian government said, maybe it's probably a good idea to take this guy out. Perhaps he was harming not just, the adversaries of Russia, but it could have been maybe their allies. Maybe they tried to get into China, or, Iran, right? So there's that as well. Maybe he angered the wrong people. That's kind of all just assumptions at that point, right? But he got too close to the sun. That's really my 2 cents there. But then really it goes to show you there's a potential shift in the process or how Russia is looking at their cyber criminals, right? Maybe they're trying to be more legit in their operations. Hey, we're going to be like NSA or whatever, CIA, whatever we got here in the US, and trying to run more legit controlled operations versus just, hey, here's protected guys, protected pirates, like mercenaries for hire. I think that's kind of how he saw himself. But there are challenges, right? Specifically with the international piece of this. Again, I said earlier is that he may have tried to ransom to the wrong company, to an ally nation, right? Or he's implicating or affecting some European nations that, may be in cahoots with Russia, right? Or sympathizers, right? So again, it's a very complex web of, ifs and what's here, but I can only speculate at this point. But you got to understand, right? Like where Russia is in the war at this state, right? I don't know if Russia and Ukraine are going to be wrapping up here the next few months here with new administration in the U.S. But there's that to consider as well. What is Russia trying to message here? And what are their goals, right? So those are my 2 cents.
So let me ask you this, because this is what I thought, right? Like they had to know at some point, like the bird was going to get out of the cage, right? Like,
yeah.
If this guy was sanctioned by them, they had to have that plan. Like the ultimate thing that could have happened would have been, okay, he's going to get out of control. He's going to do something we don't, right? Like it's like robots turning on you that are supposed to work for you, right? But so here's my question, right? So you see how it happens to where you have all these gangs that we attribute to Russia, right? With everything that they do that's state sponsored and the abilities that we know they have, the stuff they've done before they went into Ukraine, Crimea, like all of these different things. Do we not think that they were following this guy this whole time and they knew what was going on, and now it just, like, if it doesn't serve their purpose, this is what they do? Like, are we thinking that's the case, or do we think this guy was just in Russia doing his own thing, doing whatever? Because like we see where we in America, like if we really want somebody, like we go out and we get them.
Yeah.
Right? Are we saying Russia doesn't have that capability?
Yeah, that's it's probably true. I bet you Russia already knew where he was the entire time, obviously, and it's kind of like that useful idiot maybe thing, where it's like, hey, we got all we could out of him. Now he's trained and worked with all these groups that probably have affiliations with the Russian government, so they're like, oh, I know everything he knows. Spy, right? Maybe they absorbed all of his knowledge and they said it was enough, right? So it's just really interesting, really, from the industry perspective, and like what do you think can we do? What are our big takeaways from this type of thing, from your perspective?
That they know this is happening. Like here, and I think we already know this, right? So I don't think it's a really big takeaway. Like as I was reading the article, I was like, they had to know where this guy was, right? They knew what he was doing. He was definitely state sponsored. You know what I mean? With that was going on. And just like the ones from Revel, right? I think it's one of those things where, because almost always they're in those foreign countries, right? Like they're doing that stuff out of those countries. I think they were just like, you no longer serve a purpose. Or it could be like you were saying, right? Like maybe they're trying to curry favor with the administration, right? Because that could be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At this point, we'll just see. And I think what governments now need to do, at least, the public-private partnerships that we're doing with CISA, right? I think CISA is doing a great job of trying to communicate with private organizations and, how they can strengthen their infrastructure at various levels of government or private industry. I think other countries, right, that are looking to increase their posture should perhaps do something of the same as CISA. Yeah, hopefully they have, right? So that's kind of my sense there.
Yeah, we're going to see, right? And the thing is, they don't take a lot of time before you go on trial, go to jail, do all of that stuff. Like it's not like the American justice system where you could be sitting there for 4, 5, 6.
They lock you up.
Yeah, they lock you up quickly, right? You're going to court quick. You're going to jail quick. So
right.
We'll see sooner than later, right? Like he might be joining his Revel buddies. The 4. We'll see. This next article comes from bleepingcomputer.com by Bill Toulis, and the title of this one is New Rockstar 2FA Phishing Service Targets Microsoft 365 Accounts, right? So, folks, we see it, right? So, like, this is a phishing as a service platform, and it's called Rockstar 2FA, right? And this is a large scale, so large scale, right? Because when you see Microsoft, you almost always have to say it's large scale, because how they're using like 85% of the world out there is using Microsoft in some form or fashion, right? So this is an adversary in the middle attack, and it's used to steal Microsoft 365 credentials, right? So for the ease of what Microsoft is doing out there, where they're like, hey, we're going to make it easier for you guys to do to access, all these different products, using just one credential to get into all of them instead of, logging into your account for, Excel, Word, Exchange, or whatever. They got that Microsoft 365 out there, right? Log into that one spot, and then you get access to everything, right? So what does this end up doing? Stealing the credentials for that, right? So these attacks, man, they're becoming more and more sophisticated, right? So what this allows you to do is to bypass the multi-factor authentication, which that protection is still a good protection, right? Like if you have multi-factor out there for anything, I still stress, please use it whenever possible, right? Like it makes it at least a lot harder to steal credentials, right? Or someone to pretend to be you, right? So what this does, it bypasses the multi-factor authentication protections and it intercepts valid session cookies, right? So what it does is you start going to these fake login pages, right, that mimic Microsoft 365. And we talked about this before, right? We've had it before where it's like, pay attention to the websites that you're going to, right? Like make sure you're not going to a Microsoft or something like that, because they're getting very good at putting like legit logos like on these pages and everything, because you can find this stuff everywhere, right? Like the branding for these big companies is crazy, right? So it's out there everywhere. They can just add it onto, some type of website that they've spoofed or whatever. And if you're not paying close enough attention, you end up just putting your credentials in, right? And then that's how they get you, right? Because now they've got valid credentials from you because you put it into site that was not legitimate. You know what I mean? So folks, you got to be careful out there. You gotta be mindful of what's going on and just be careful in general in stuff that's coming to you, right? So they're phishing, right? So like the way they do it is they send things that appear valid, like when it comes to finances and things of that nature, right? To where you're like, oh, I want to take care of those types of things, right? So you're not looking that hard. You're just trying to fix the problem. I don't want my money messed with. I don't want this, healthcare or whatever it may be. That's how they get you. That's how they get their foot in the door. And then when you're not paying attention and you log in with valid credentials, your own credentials, right? This is how they bypass it. But yeah, folks, be careful. We say this all the time on the podcast, and I just want everybody to be aware. This is all about mitigating risk, right? The risk will never be zero. It's like, unless it's like abstinence. Like I say all the time, this is abstinence and you're just not doing anything at all, which is impossible in this day and age, right? Like it's very possible, right? Unless you're the new Unabomber or something like that, maybe, right? Like you're out in a cabin in the woods somewhere doing something. No phone, no electronics or something, but that's very hard to do in this day and age, right? So like it's very hard. But yeah, folks, be careful out there. Like I said, they're out there spoofing Microsoft 365 credentials. So just pay attention to the website you're going to make sure you are not falling for this trap. But Chris, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, so this is a very advanced attack, right? And I think the fact that multi-factor authentication is obviously a good thing. Obviously, it's a great way to prevent any unauthorized access because remember, multi-factor authentication. Consider those. There's three factors, right? Something you have, something you are, and something you know. So something you know is usually the most common, being your passwords, right, guys? And then something you have could be something like a token or a card, like a smart card or a YubiKey, right? Something that you have, and then something you are is biometrics, right? Something you are could be your fingerprints, for example, if you use Touch ID, or if you're an iPhone user, a Face ID, right? And many other companies start using facial recognition as well. So a combination of those creates that multi-factor authentication. But the way this specific, it's crazy how this is like phishing as a service. So organized crime can pay $200 for 2 weeks and just start phishing, right? Start phishing as long as they probably have a list of emails from the dark web, and they send like legit emails, like very, very legit looking emails to their victims, and in hopes that they utilize that specific link to kind of hijack their credentials through like the cookies, right? Everybody knows cookies. They kind of let you browse the web faster. Almost think of them as like memory, or think about them as like a history for your browsing, right? Or things like that, right? So cookies are actually what enable you to use single sign-on. They remember what sites you went on, and they remember, for example, that you logged into a specific series of websites. So let's pick Microsoft 365, for example, right? When you open a new window let's say you're in a 365 website. You open a new window to go to the Excel, right? It's opening another application or a web application, and in a different tab. And it utilizes that cookie to know that, oh, Chris signed in here. Cool. Browsers are going to let you go into there, right? So think about it like that. The way that these programs work is that they send you an email. So that's the key thing. They'll send you an email. You get that QR code, and then they start linking, and they start sending you these redirects. And then a landing page is actually, for at least Rockstar 2FA, they actually send you to a legit looking Cloudflare turnstile. You guys have seen those when you log into, or when you go to different websites, right? Verify you're human. That's some Cloudflare thing where either you're, clicking on something that says you're human, or you are making sure that, you pick like, oh, these are the stairs, or this is the car, right? So it'll actually send you something legit like that. So it's crazy. Yeah, the CAPTCHA. So it's crazy. And then once you go through all that, the specific program steals your cookie, and here you go. Your credentials are compromised. It's a wrap. So now they can get access to it because they've found maybe your password or something to that effect, right? It's crazy. But the fact that this is done at scale makes me think this is speculation, but Rockstar 2FA is probably hosted on the cloud somewhere, right? It's probably on some AWS. It's probably on some runs like what is it? It runs containerized. It runs on containers or whatnot. But it's unbelievable, right? So it shows you how all of the products that we've been using to make our lives easier, to make the ease of infrastructure easier. Hey, this stuff can be used against us. It can be used against the good guy. The more convenient your life gets, the more complicated the attack vector can get, right? And those are kind of my 2 cents there. Really, I think big one here is, I think Shannon hit it right in the head. Like, be aware of what you're browsing. If it looks somewhat different, right? Even if it's a legit looking email, don't click on it, And my hope is that email filtering and all these prevention and detection programs, they get smarter, right? As the adversary gets smarter and realizes, hey, look, this is not a legit link, right? This is not a legit email. Because they'll just add like a dot somewhere, or add a second I in Microsoft.com, and you'll realize, oh crap, that's actually that's the wrong URL. I'm not clicking on that. I'm deleting that and sending that to my admin, to make sure that everybody in the company is aware. Hey, look, guys, they're targeting our company because we have something important, right? But this is I just remember reading this article and I said, this is crazy. They'll do whatever to get your credentials.
The thing is, it's becoming more prevalent because of the whole single sign-on thing, right? Like, you don't have to go and do, like, just say somebody was going to put different passwords in for like all the Microsoft resources they were going to use, right? Probably not, right? But let's just say they were. Like, they don't have to do that with the SSO, right? Like, a single sign-on is just like, I get this one, and like you were talking about, it doesn't require another password. It's like, no, I already verified you here, right? You're good. Go ahead and access this, and it becomes easier and easier for them to start poking and prodding and doing whatever, because they've got the keys to the kingdom, which is that one infiltration. So it's becoming, like you were talking about, man, like you hit it on the head with the convenience of everything that we want to do makes it easier for these guys to do this. And here's the thing, like you're talking about with hoping like spam filtering catches these things. Like, we're in that period to where, because things are getting better at filters, you know what I mean? Like the advent of AI and things of that nature makes it to where it doesn't look as suspicious as it used to, right? There are things the spam filter used to look for that just are not happening as frequent as they used to, right? So they are getting through there more often. Like, I've had it recently where I've got some stuff come through. I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? Then I'm like, okay, mark is junk. You know what I mean? Move to junk folder, this, that, and the third. It's getting better. It's just, we're in that phase where it's like, okay, well, we got to catch up, right? Like, it's the more reactive than proactive to these types of things that's happening right now. But that's kind of where we are. That's the ebb and flow of all of this,
And like, tides are shifting all the time. Sometimes the bad guys have the advantage, and then, hey, we got our defensive guys with the advantage, right? So it's, and I think our next article is going to discuss that as well.
Foreshadowing, I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. This article actually comes from TechCrunch.com, right, by Paul Sawers. And the title of this one was UK seeks collaboration for security research lab to counter Russia. And they have this in quotes, new AI arms race, right? And like they have it in quotes for the article, and it is not untrue, right? So like, we are definitely in an AI arms race, right? Because you have people out there that are like, no, AI can be used for good, right? So like, anything that can be used for good, what do you think is going to happen? It can be used for bad, right? So the UK is very good about being forward leaning when it comes to things like this, right? We always talk about how they're good when it comes to like data security and things of that nature and what you have being put out there into the world. But the UK government, they've launched numerous funding initiatives in the past for cybersecurity projects, right? Like, this is what they do. AI-fueled nation-state attacks, they're on the rise, right? So they're the driving force behind doing all of this, right? So the Laboratory for AI Security Research, LASER, that's a cool name, LASR, will be funded initially with 8.22 million, which is 8.22 million pounds, right? Or is that euro, pounds, whatever that is?
It's pounds, yeah.
Pounds, yeah. Which is $10.3 million, right? And that's from the government itself, right? So it's developing a catalytic model, is what they call it, and they hope to see other industries contribute to the pot, right? And they will, right? Because here's the thing: everyone is going to get to the point where AI is just unavoidable, right? Like we're fastly coming up on this, right? Like it's coming to a point where it's like AI will definitely be one of those things where everybody is going to be using it, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Like it's just one of those things where it's neat. Like you got Apple leaning hard into this, right? With their iOS 18.2, I think is what it is the one that's supposed to like really utilize AI in their phones. And like you can bet every successive year that a phone comes out, you're going to get more from AI, that's going to be used for this. But the ultimate purpose of this is to protect the UK and its allies against new threats, is what they said, right? So they're doing this to include partnerships with various government departments, right? So the Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Office, Government Communications Headquarters, the Alan Turing Institute, the AI Safety Institute, right? So the UK is leaning into this really hard, right? Which I think is a good thing, right? So there's a lot of cyber attacks out there right now that are using AI, right? We talk about it every week. We talk about it, right? To where it seems like AI is involved in something. Russia is big on it. China is getting big on it. North Korea is not too far behind, where they're going to be doing more of the AI. I guess they're kind of there already, right? Because we had the whole, credential stealing and whatnot that they were using to get people to get those jobs, right, to fund their missile program. So this is going to be a very, very big thing in the future that the UK is really forward leaning into, and they're putting money behind it, right? And like this is just an initial investment, like I said, initial investment of $2 million, right, or what it was, 8.3 million pounds, 8.22 million pounds, 10.3 million US dollars, right? So the government's forward leaning, and I love to see it, right? But Chris, what's your thoughts?
My first thoughts were AI proliferation, right? Arms race. Me, the first thing is, how is AI even possible, right? And what it is, it's data centers. It's all these NVIDIA graphics cards and processors and servers all working together to run these complex models. I think it's through like GPUs and things like that, right? So all these appliances, we have data centers here in the US, obviously. We've got them everywhere, especially like Northern Virginia, areas of Arizona, California, areas that are very safe, right, from natural disaster, things like that. The UK itself is obviously the size. I think it's a little bit bigger than the size of a little bit bigger than New Jersey, or might be the size of might be a little bit bigger than that. But it's actually maybe a lot bigger than that. Anyway, my geography is not where it needs to be right now, but
the UK is multiple countries, right?
So yes, that's correct. I'm thinking England, Wales, Scotland, etc.
Yeah. Yep.
But they don't have as much, land, or rather, I'm not sure of their current AI infrastructure, right? I don't know how many data centers they're hosting in the UK, right, or with the partners. This research, I believe, is one driving perhaps the utilization of defensive capabilities within AI, rather than maybe proliferating data centers, right, within the United Kingdom. But for example, a big technology that's come out in recent years, alongside of something called security and incident and event management, is SOAR, automated detected response. So orchestrated automation and response, right? So it's essentially an automated process. Once an appliance detects something in your network, it proceeds to take AI-based action on mitigating a specific risk or a specific event that's happening within your network, right? Maybe it could, shut down a port for you within your network, or segment that specific, VLAN off your network. I don't know. There's a lot that they can do, but there's probably research on how that is being done on the offensive as well as the defensive capabilities, right? So the research could be two-pronged, where it's like, hey, you need to know how to attack before we can defend. Like, we need to know where these attacks are coming from. So I think it's a great initiative that the UK is putting this money in. I could definitely see it. I could definitely see it expanding in their catalytic model, where others within the UK, private organizations within the UK, are putting forth some of their own investment in addition to this research, right? So it's kind of cool to see, great minds, security researchers come together and say, hey, look, this is what's going on now, right? They're going to be probably publishing papers. They're probably going to be, building experimental tools. It's going to be awesome, right? It's going to be awesome. Right. In our previous podcast, we've discussed, just the increase of attacks in public service or on hospitals. How could AI help a hospital which doesn't have like a full staff of cybersecurity professionals, right? Those are the kind of things that I think that this research is going to go towards, assisting those that necessarily can't. That small clinic, right? How's that clinic going to defend itself if their ISP is down or they're compromised, right? You got people trying to get prescriptions and they got ransomware on there. How are they going to respond to that kind of threat? So I think it's a pretty cool initiative, and I think maybe I think the article stated that they started going for this at a NATO conference, right? Us guys with military exercises, we've done a lot of collaboration with other militaries, right? Exercises and such. And they particularly highlight the Five Eyes countries. So Five Eyes, for you guys that don't know, are Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. Essentially the English-speaking, primary countries, right? The Five Eyes. Like-minded partners, collaboration with that at the security level or information level that we can, right? I think that's great. Fostering that kind of partnership throughout the world is just outstanding.
And with the Five Eyes, right? Like, it's not like we haven't done stuff like in partnership already when it comes to stuff like this, right? Like, we talk about some of those joint task forces, right? You have your New Zealand's, you have your in there, so it's not new to them anyway. But to touch a little bit more on the sword thing you were talking about, right? So like, you have to, I don't want to say you have to be careful, but you definitely have to be careful, right? Because when you're allowing AI to make like tweaks for you when it comes to cybersecurity, you got to be careful, because some of the stuff that is legitimate can be perceived as a threat, right? Especially when it comes to like your defenses, right? Your antivirus and things of that nature. You got to be careful. You got to have eyes on it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you got to make monitoring appropriately to where it's like, hey, no, that was a legitimate action. Let's go ahead and allow that. And then it learns. And this is how it learns, right? It's like, okay, you're telling me if I see this again, this is good, I'm going to allow it, right? So it is definitely the way forward, because like I said, the advent of AI it's coming hard and heavy, man. So like, we got to get ahead of the game, and the UK is doing it right now, right? And there's probably some stuff in the US that we're doing along the same lines. I know we've talked about, we've done articles where we talk about defenses and different actions to take against the AI, right? Like, it's something that the current administration, the outgoing administration, has tried to get ahead of, but it is here. Like I said, like every iteration of iPhone that comes out, you're going to get more and more capability just in the palm of your hand. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be so easy to utilize when it comes to AI. So it's out there, folks. There's no sense in trying to avoid it. You got to embrace it, get smart on it. So that you know what is out there, right? Whether it be to help you or to harm you, right? You just gotta be in the know, right? And the time is coming, right? The time is coming to where this information is going to be more widespread to people. Yes, you're getting it from one of the best sources right here from the other side of the firewall, right? But like, it will start coming more to be more, what am I trying to say here? Like, widespread and common, right? You're going to see it on the major news networks even more, right? It's just going to be one of those things. It's going to be too unavoidable to not see it and not defend against it. But, yeah. But no, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the thing is, it's a good thing. Like I said, the UK is very forward leaning. I'd like to see, the United States start going down this path a little bit more too. Like I said, I know we've talked, they've done stuff about defense against AI, but start putting the money into it like these guys are doing. And this is an ever so slight amount, right? Like, so this is one of those things where the UK government has this, right? Like all those countries can afford to spend $10.2 million or whatever it was, right?
Right.
Just to see, but we got to get on this train, folks. It's you either get on the train or get off the tracks and go live out in the woods somewhere because it's coming hard. Chris, it started with you, man. What'd you do this week? How was your week?
Yeah, so obviously it was Thanksgiving, right? We had a great time at Thanksgiving with the family. We ate lamb, right? So my family likes to eat lamb in addition to turkey, right? So it was really good. We did some smoked lamb, sirloin. I mean, just fantastic, right? So my mother-in-law makes this amazing like honey cake, right? It's just like it's an Eastern European thing, and it's just like it's outstanding, right? I think it's like popular in Russia, Ukraine, in that region, but it's essentially just like it's honey and it's delicious. That's all I could say. So Thanksgiving was fantastic. Did a little bit of Black Friday shopping, nothing crazy, right? Nothing huge because like I already got my TVs, I already got my monitors that I have, so it's like, what else can I get? Like my Apple Watch is still working, right? I could buy a Garmin. Like, do I really need it? Not really. I really don't. Maybe once my Apple Watch like forks over in the next like few months, I might buy one there. But it's just one of those like, I don't want to buy something just because it's like on a sale, right? And also some of these retailers are deceptive. They'll say it's on sale, but they'll just increase the suggested retail price, right, during like this week or this last few months, right, the year, and they'll just say, oh look, it's on sale, guys. Actually you guys increased the price of it like last week, and then now you just brought it back down to the a different sale price. So just be careful of that. Shopping smartly, right? There's a lot of predatory actions going on. So just be careful when you're buying some of this stuff. Random thing, we have this air filter that we have. It's by a company called Rabbit Air, but it's very good. It's a very expensive air filter. It helps with because I've got allergies, right? So it's really good on that. Got a new filter for it. So those filters are like $100 replacement. It was on sale. Yeah, exactly. Once a year, $100. But
once a year?
Yeah, once a year.
Okay,
they're expensive, right? But
I'm saying it's like a 3-month filter for like $100. I was like, dude.
No, it's like once a year, but it's pretty good. There's areas that you can clean, right? You can vacuum it and do that and that. But it's an outstanding filter. Like it's whenever I cook like Asian food, anything like that with curry. I mean, I need to turn the thing on because it's crazy. But that was on sale Black Friday, right? What else do we get? Electric toothbrushes. Yeah, electric toothbrushes. Time to convert to something more fancy.
Something, Chris. Like I keep being told, right? And my sister-in-law is a hygienist, right? And she'll definitely tell me, like, electric toothbrushes are the way to go. But I can't get used to it. I've tried it in the past, and I keep just wanting to do this manual motion thing, and like with it, it doesn't feel right to me. I don't know.
Right.
I don't have any problems with my teeth or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm good with my manual that I've been doing for the last 40 plus years.
Exactly. Right? I mean,
man.
But it it definitely breaks down the plaque better, right? So it's pretty awesome. I think it's got some benefits to it. What else? Started decorating for Christmas, right? So I've got my up that way. You can see my half decorated Christmas tree. It's like, oh, we got to go to storage and still finish up, but at least the Christmas tree is up, right? So it's got lights and everything, so it's already nice, but it needs a little bit more love from us. But it's there. It's on the way.
You actually waited till after Thanksgiving. You're late, man. Like if you
we are late. That the thing is, we had to actually get a new Christmas tree, right? Because our old one was like 6 years old, whatever it was, and it was just not looking good anymore. But we had ordered one, and it got here probably 2 weeks ago. But it was a 7-foot Christmas tree, but we didn't account for the fact that it was like 53 inches in diameter. Right, I'm like, this is huge. It's like completely blocking the doorway. So we had to return that one and order a new one. So that took another week. The tree literally arrived this past Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So it's like, you know what? I guess this is time for me to start. It's better late than never. At least I got the tree up before frickin' December. Right? But this one's only like 6.5 feet. I wish it was 7 feet, but the diameter is like 40 inches or so. So it's like a little bit more manageable in the space that we have designated for it. But yeah, a little bit of Christmas shopping, gifts and stuff like that. Pretty cool. On the media side of the house, we've been rewatching the Harry Potter movies. So it's like our tradition, kind of just started that, and, through the fourth movie, love it. That shift from the second to the third movie is great because it gets darker and The Prisoner of Azkaban, right? It's just because the direction goes different, but it's still fantastic. And now that I'm older, watching it for like the 8th time, I still enjoy it. It's like a part of our Christmas tradition or the holiday tradition. The Great British Bake Off just finished its current season, so the winner, congratulations to that winner. But it was very tense because if you ever watched the show, it's like the person that you want to win, right, is usually like not doing as well as the person that's ahead, right? And then in our case, we the person that we wanted to win did win, so it's a good thing. And then sports, Vikings, they're doing pretty well, right? So we had a little scare against the Bears. They freaking caught up. I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
They caught up, and with an onside kick, and we were able to tie the game and go into overtime. But we won in overtime. We were watching the Bears during Thanksgiving, and that like missed field goal, or rather, they let the clock run out and said, what is wrong with them, right? What is wrong with them? I mean, the coach did get fired, right? Which was unprecedented, but Bears are going to be Bears.
Done it. And the thing is, they've never done it in the history of their organization where they fired a season. But I said, like, after that game finished, I sent you guys a message. I was like, this will get this guy fired. Like, enough at this point. Like, I had known because they had talked about it. They were like, this guy doesn't deserve to be there anymore. He's got too much talent. They're losing. But then he just kept playing, and I was like, this will be it. And the very next day.
Right.
Gone.
Yeah, so up and coming game. I think Vikings will be playing Arizona today, actually. So that should be a fun game. Hopefully, we've never lost to Arizona at home, so it should be good. And Minnesota Gophers, Penn State pulled through, by a point. But you know what? I predicted Penn State to win. But the fact that it was that close to me was just, like, I'm happy. I'm happy with the result, right? Like, I think you guys are ranked 4 now, and dude, we were within a point of beating you guys, so I'm happy with that.
So we are ranked 4. When the new rankings come out, we'll probably jump up to 3. I'm thinking up to 3, but we'll see what happens. We're going to end up playing Oregon. We are playing Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. I got a coworker, that's an Oregon fan that. We were talking mess. He was like, hey, man, we're not friends no more. He sent me a text like,
yeah.
We're not friends no more.
Is that next week? No.
Next
you
week?
Guys are...
Yes, it is. Next week. This
against Oregon, right?
Against Oregon at Lucas Stadium in Indianapolis. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's a good time. This last, 2 months of college football is the best, right? We're getting close. Everybody's got their records, and it's like, hey, these are kind of like make or break games for the playoffs, right?
Right.
But yesterday we did pull out, and so the most important game to me personally is the Wisconsin and Gophers and Minnesota game, and we got the axe, Albany's axe this past week, so we're very happy with that. So to me, this season was a victory. Yeah, I would like to be in the top 25, but I think we had some key losses that kind of prevented us from being there. We're probably like 2 or 3 losses. If we had won maybe 2 or 3 more games, we'd probably be in the top 25. For sure. But we're almost there. But it's I think there's a lot, the parity in college football has gotten a lot better in this. SEC is kind of, they're not in the top 4, right? I think they're not.
So Texas is still
Texas
SEC. So they're number 2. They're going to stay number 2.
Fake SEC. I don't believe Texas is SEC.
It's only been a couple of years, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's kind of been my week. It's been pretty fun, right? And yeah, and having this nice 4-day weekend is very, very relaxing. Oh, one last thing. I ran 7 miles yesterday. So I'm up to 7 miles. I'll be running a half marathon in February, the Gasparilla half, and that's 13.1, right? So I'm more than halfway there through my training. But the idea for me is increased by 1 mile every Saturday. Next week's gonna be 8 and 9. And by Christmas, I should be running 10 miles on continuously, right, on that one day. But I usually try to run 20, 25 miles a week. And so what I'm doing is I'm tapering up, trying to get to 30 miles a week by mid-January. So I'm ready for that half marathon to really fine tune my speed and things like that. but I'm not. There's nowhere near where I was when I was in the service, right? So it's like I'm doing it slowly. It's difficult when you're not like running with a bunch of runners, and it's like, man, that guy's fast. I need to beat him, or that she's fast. I need to beat her. You don't get that unless I don't have time for a running group or anything like that here just yet. But we'll see. That should be fun. But that's been my week. I'm very sore.
So it's crazy, man. Like I don't know how you can do it after filling up on turkey and lamb and honey cake and like I don't know how you could bring yourself 2 days later to go and be running.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't do it the next day. I was like, no way. But the day after, I feel like the leftover sugars I had, in my body were like, you need to get this. You need to run.
You didn't have any leftovers?
No, we did.
Okay.
We did. But it's like, I didn't eat as much on Friday, right? So it's like, hey, I ate way too much on Thursday. I need to cut it down. I didn't even eat till like, lunch because I was so full.
That's kind of how it goes, right? Like we use Thanksgiving as an excuse to gorge ourselves,
Exactly.
What I mean? Like people love the holiday, right? But like for me, I'm like I can eat, I can throw down, but like the way people do it on Thanksgiving, like I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not about to go that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you.
I feel so gorged, this, that, and the third, and they're proud of it. And I'm like, yo, don't you feel miserable? Yeah, I feel miserable, but I ate so much on Thanksgiving.
No way, yeah. I tried to sample everything, right, first. I'm like, okay, I'll have a little bit of everything. Then I'm like, I go for seconds and like, oh, I really like this cranberry sauce.
Whatever you like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, it's crazy, man. You making it happen, though, man. I had a joke with my wife. I was like, man, ever since I retired, like, my closet has been shrinking my clothes, I don't know what's going on. We got to figure out this closet. My clothes,
yeah.
What's going on? But same type of thing, right? Like if you're not doing your PT, your 3, 4, 5 times a week, whatever, right? Like knowing a PT test is coming up, you got to, get right. Yep. Like I don't got any of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and it's not like, people work out. Like you don't have an accountability buddy at work, right? And me, mostly remote. It's like, okay, I really don't work out with anybody, right?
Right.
So it's like versus when you're, you see your one of your troops, dude, this kid just ran like 10 miles and he smoked. I can't let him beat me. I was one of those guys. I just smoked a freaking 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds in the PT test. That was me.
Wow. Good on you. Good on you. You out here doing half marathons when you don't have to. So yeah. You and another.
Yeah, I'm doing it for fun. What's wrong with me?
Whatever keeps you going. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like, the college football, Penn State, they made it to the championship because Michigan upset Ohio State, right? So Michigan went ahead and took care of business. So we're in the game now. We're in the Big Ten championship game. So like I said, my coworker, he's an Oregon fan, and he was like,
wow,
we're not friends anymore. And I was like, look, I don't even know why you're talking to me right now. I was like, anything you need from me, you need to send a request, file it, send me an electronic mail, print it out in triplicate, you know what I mean? And then I'll get to you in 2 weeks, you know what I mean? That's
yeah.
But no, so like we'll see how this week goes. We'll probably be talking mess back and forth because he sits next to me, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
We're not going to be able to avoid each other.
Yeah.
We are coworkers doing the same job.
Exactly.
But no, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be, the jokes are going to come hard and heavy, right? So it's going to be great. Today, my Ravens are playing the Eagles. I'm a little nervous about this because Saquon is crazy.
It's going to be crazy. It's one of those bird games, the Eagles and Ravens.
So, yeah, I'll watch it. I mean, that's how I always get down. I do my best to watch it. Like, I don't have Sunday Ticket or anything like that, but I can watch NFL Network. And it shows a lot of the highlights from the games that are going on around the league.
This is one of those like Super Bowl preview, like potential Super Bowl preview matches, right?
It could be, man, but I think last year was our year to really do it. Like, if we had the Super Bowl, it was last year, and we just lost ourselves playing.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Like, we didn't do this all year that got us to the number 1 seed overall. Why are we throwing the ball 41 times now? Like, why do that? And that game was like 10-17, if I remember
right,
in score on that one. So it's like, it's not like they blew us out or anything, and we had a shot. Like, we fumbled it away. Like, we had a fumble going into the end zone. It was crazy. And then they got us again the beginning of this year, and it's because, Isaiah Likely's cleats are this much too long, So
yeah.
It's like,
well, as a NFC guy, I am definitely rooting for you guys to beat the Eagles. I need the Eagles to be
the same record, right?
Oh, yeah, we're both 9-2. We need them to lose.
Yeah. Okay. So like, like Minnesota is up there doing it quietly, man. Like you don't hear a lot of people talking. Like everybody's
The
talking.
thing is, Minnesota's games, our teams aren't like that good, right? I think our first half of the year was more difficult, right? But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see.
We're gonna try to take care of it for you.
Yeah, for sure.
We're doing it for you, not for us.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll be watching that today. What media did I take in? So I tried to get back into the Day of the Jackal. So like I had stopped in the second episode, started playing. I got like another 20 minutes in, and I'm like, this isn't feeling in for me. I want to finish the episode because like it's one of those things where I talked about this last week. Like they do a good job of getting you in the beginning, and then it's just like they start doing all this. But like every once in a while, I'll do something. I'm like, okay, this could go somewhere, and then it like abandons it and goes somewhere else, and I'm like, what are we doing here? So I'm gonna try to watch it. I'm gonna try to get through. And I said this last week. My thing used to be 3 episodes. That would be my barometer on what I'm gonna do. Man, like I kind of know. I usually know within the first episode, but I'm like, give it 3, right? Because it can happen. I know when I started watching, this was years ago, but like WandaVision, right? Like the first 3 episodes, somebody told me there was like the first 3 episodes, get through it. Like it is not good in the first 3, but it'll get better as it goes on. And it did. So I was like, okay, maybe 3's a good medium. I don't know. We'll see. But I know you said you started rewatching, some stuff that you already watched. I'm doing the same thing with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I'm
yeah, for sure.
Rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, man. It's hilarious. So like when I watched it a few months ago, Netflix only had the first 4 seasons. It's kind of weird. I think it's 7 or 8 seasons. So I didn't get to watch the second half. So now I picked up at season 5, which is on Peacock. I started watching through those. So it's a good show, man. It's a hilarious show for anybody out there that likes to laugh. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hilarious. But started watching that. What else did I watch? I sat down with the wife. Like we've had more time together, you know what I mean, with time off and whatnot. And I got into Dr. Odyssey some more. And the thing is, like she knows I don't like it. So whenever she comes down and takes the time to spend time with me, right? Like, hey, I got some free time. I'm like, all right, let's watch something together. Like, what do you want to watch? And she was like, well, you don't like anything I want to watch. I was like, you know what? Because I like you, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I like you a little bit, wife. 20 plus years, But yeah, so yeah, we sat and watched Dr. Odyssey a little bit. She's feeling a little bit more than I am, but hey, again, we're spending time together, right? So that's all that matters. We're just being right. You get to a point where just being around that other person, like sometimes it's enough, just knowing you're here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be enjoying what's on TV, but that one, Brilliant Minds is the other one, right? I keep waiting for the main character to do something very Spock-like because he plays Spock in the J.J. Abrams that did the new Star Trek movie.
Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, so the one, Zachary Quinto is his name, but I keep waiting him to do some Spock stuff, man, because like that's another one I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right.
It's what it is. But, so yeah, I watched a little bit of that. But yeah, like I said, it's just about getting in the time, to be with the significant other that I enjoy a lot more of. I tell you what, I'm getting more excited like for the college football season because of the new playoff system, right? So they got 12 teams, what I'm doing this year, and I'm like, man, I want to see how this is going to shake out. I want to see how they do this. Like, I know that how they've done the explanation, but like the committee still has to rank who's going to go where in there, right? And it could be one of those things where even if someone's not in the top 12, like when it comes to the rankings, like they may have somebody else that's lower ranked in there, right? Because they tend to have an SEC bias. They had in the past.
For sure.
Teams, they've had an SEC bias, and the SEC has not been as strong, right? Like you kind of alluded to this a little bit, talking about SEC and, what's going on there. You don't have like 4 teams at the top of the rankings that are SEC teams,
Yeah.
So
I think it's fantastic, first of all. Like,
I think
SEC
like,
dominance is over.
Yeah, but the parity you talked about, like I think it might be one of those things where it could be the NIL money, it could be the transfer portal, to where you don't have these conferences that are as strong, as they used to be. Like even the Big Ten, like some of the teams that were in the Big Ten, like
right,
they fell off a little bit. But again, like they've been successful, right? So what happens when you have success, right? People leave, like Coach Harbaugh, right? And then you have, I want to say Michigan had like 12 players from their starting
it's
offensive.
8 teams, right, in playoffs, or
12.
12?
Yeah.
So they increased it to 12?
So it was 4. And it was 4. They had talked about 8, and then they jumped to 12. So
okay, so 12 teams. Okay, I see.
So the top four, so the four from the power conferences, the ones that win their conference championships, they're going to get a bye in the first round. So whoever wins the Big Ten, the SEC, ACC, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna get the bye for the first. So then it's going to be whoever they have ranked 5 through 12 will play, right? And then they'll figure it out. Okay, get those four, and then they'll play the four that have the bye that have been sitting, right? And then they'll go from there. But it's 12 teams now, so I'm interested on how this is going to play out, right? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to see more teams in, or they think a team got unjustly denied, right? And this did happen last year. Like FSU was undefeated and did not make the top four, right?
Right, and then all their guys quit before the game,
right?
And they're like,
they had their bowl game. They were like, I'm not playing here. Like it's 4-0 at this point.
Yeah, like they can get hurt, right? And yeah, I got you.
And here's the thing, like they were prepping for the draft, right? Like at this point, they're like, okay, we did the hard work. We went undefeated. And I have somebody I work with that's a Florida State fan, and he was like, his stance was, yes, they were undefeated. He said, but I don't want to see them get blown out, right? Was his thing. And I was like, well, because they had some losses, right? Like their quarterback went down like 3/4 of the way through the season, and he was having a really good season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they just didn't look as sharp. They were still winning the games. But my point is, if they did their part and they beat everybody put in front of them, put them in the top four.
Right.
He was like, I don't want to see it. I was like, I think they've worked the 13 games to get there. You know what I mean? Because they even won their championship. They won the ACC championship. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like at first I was like, it doesn't matter, right? Because people are like, I want to see more teams get in, right? Because the undefeated number 5 team from last year didn't make the top 4. They're like, see how unjust that is? I was like, well, it doesn't matter how far you go. Like if you go 12, the people that are 13 and 14 will be like, I should have been in. Well, if you go 16 the year after that, the people that are 17 or 18 will be like, I should have been in, right? So no matter where you snap that chalk line, someone's going to be like, I deserve to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We'll see how it plays out. I mean, hopefully they get it right. But like my thing is the committee is they're going to leave somebody out that's probably more deserving because they still have that SEC bias, right? You're going to have a 3-loss SEC team, right?
Right.
End up being in the top 12, and you're like, you got 2 one-loss teams here that you didn't allow in.
It's probably gonna be Georgia, right? Maybe Georgia, because Texas is on the top. They're gonna get the bye at this rate.
Yeah, they're more than likely going to win the SEC championship.
And then Georgia, I was gonna lose another one, and 3-loss, right? Yeah, I think that's where we're getting at. Yeah, it should be cool. Very cool. Indiana, yeah, Big Ten represent. I just pulled up the people that are in Oregon, Penn State, Indiana, Ohio State, right?
Illinois is down there in the bottom too. I want to say,
yeah, they are. I like seeing that. I like the Big Ten dominance is back.
Yeah, Indiana came out of nowhere. I think that's why Indiana came out of nowhere. Like that, I can't remember his name, Samedi or whatever their coach's name is. Everywhere he goes that first year, he turns the program around. But I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Right.
He turned it around pretty good. So, yeah, five Big Ten teams in the top 25, right? So.
You know, it's funny. I see SMU on top here. They're like 11-1. SMU got the death penalty at one point, right? They're the ones that were the original. They're like buying players off and crap like that.
Yeah. They have a 30 for 30 called Pony Excess, because they're the ponies, right? Like the SMU is the Mustangs or whatever. I think it is. But yeah, they call it Pony Excess.
Excess, yeah.
It's a pretty good 30 for 30 that they did. If you ever watch it, but like there's players from those teams that are still to this day, like they're very coy about whether or not they got those impermissible, things that they got, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I never got that.
It's like, how'd you end up in Trans Am as a poor college?
Yeah. Now all the college kids are driving nice cars because
with the NIL money, which I'm not against. I'm not against them getting paid for as much as
they deserve it, right?
The universities are making a lot of money off their back, so let them get paid for it. You know what I mean? Because some of them, they may not get drafted, right? This may be the most money they make. You know what I mean? Whether it be through injury or, they get drafted and don't hang on past 2 or 3 years, right? Which is like, I want to say like 3.5 is the average, career. For all those quarterbacks you see that go 20, 21, 22 years, there's somebody that doesn't get past their first contract, right? Or is an undrafted free agent that gets a year. You know what I mean? That's more often the case. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. But Anyway, we had good weeks, it seems like, right? We ate good for Thanksgiving, right? We enjoyed the family, ate our honey cakes and lambs. That sounds really good, you know what I mean? Like, man, lamb and honey cake.
Yeah.
I might go search out some gyros or something today, get some lamb. Yeah, no, that's the rundown, everybody. That's what we did. That's the fun we had, you know what I mean? Hope you guys, enjoyed this week, but just to put it out there, other side of the firewall, we're here for you, we're here for the cyber stuff. We're here to tell you the media that's out there, the stuff that we're doing, right? Don't be afraid to go to the socials and let us know what's going on with you as well, right? But so just check out all the websites, right? They go by the podcast name, Other Side of the Firewall, The Other Side of the FW, Ask a CISSP, or ramcyber.io. You can find Ryan on all of the social media platforms, right? He's at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. Daniel, you can find on LinkedIn under his name, Daniel Acevedo. Chris, where can they find you at, man?
You can find me in LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon, last name spelled A-Bacon.
That's how they're going to find you. All right, everybody, stay safe, stay secure.